a lot of you might have never heard of Nadex, but it's something I actually found out about last year, and it is now my second most profitable trading instrument in my toolbox. My number one would be ES Futures, but we're going to start off this presentation. Some of you might have seen it before. So I originally had funded an account in Nadex with $250, a small sum of money that I was okay with losing, and I took $250, and if anybody wants to take a guess, it took me 3 weeks. My initial goal, I said, well, I think I can, if I can turn this into $2,000, that's what I thought I could do it originally. I was like, I'm just going to turn this into $2,000 and, spend some money around Christmas time, because this was in December 2015. Started about the end of the first week of December. I think it was like December 7th or the 11th. I don't remember exactly. But I was able to turn that $250 into over $16,000 in the period of 13 days. So we'll go a little bit more into how I did that, and I'll show you guys the setups I used to do that. So you guys will probably find this a very useful presentation if you stick around to watch. A little bit of a risk disclaimer here. You can go ahead and read this, but no representation is being made that the use of this strategy or any system or trading methodology will generate profits. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There is substantial risk of loss associated with trading securities and options on equities. Pretty much, obviously you can lose money trading. It's important to understand that. It's important to understand this risk disclaimer, as well as everything underneath it, CFTC Rule 4.41. But anyways, guys, a little bit about myself. I am the co-founder of Major League Trading, and this is me at a prop desk. So I work for a first job I actually got trading, like officially, was when I was 22 years old. I worked at a prop firm, believe it or not, pretty young age to be working at the professional level. This is on the right-hand side. This is me actually with Tom Sosnoff, who most of you might know who he is. If you guys don't know who Tom Sosnoff is, you've probably heard of Thinkorswim. That is actually the guy who founded and created Thinkorswim, believe it or not. So I actually taught with him futures and options trading strategies for a period of time to an audience of about 40,000 people. And that's the first time I actually got into public education. And definitely a cool experience if anybody uses, who here uses Thinkorswim software? But anyways, a little bit more about myself. I bought my first stock when I was 15 years old. I used to read the Forbes 500. People would be like, well, why did you buy a stock at 15? Who gets into stocks at 15 years old? Well, every time I read that Forbes 500 magazine and saw the richest people in America, they all either seemed to be in investing or their wealth was tied to the stocks that they owned or a company they created. So I figured I better figure out how to work the stock market if I plan on making money in my life. Well, at least a lot of it. You can make money doing anything, but I wanted to make a lot of money. Learned my first trading lesson at 18, and it was a hard one. I funded an account with $1,000. My first options trading account had definitely had some beginner's luck. Rolled that sucker up $5,000 into. I rolled $1,000 into $5,000 the first month ever trading, which is just super lucky. And I didn't know anything about trading. I was using drawing trend lines and using Scottrade software. And then I lost it all. So that was kind of the first realization to me that said, well, I know this is possible because I just did it knowing nothing. If I spend a lot of time and a lot of effort and study under some professionals, I could probably make a living doing this. So by the age of 20, I was actually able to study under a hedge fund trader in the local Chicago land area, which was a really cool experience. Definitely helped me build the foundation of my trading strategies, discipline, etc., rule set that I have today that has made me successful. I got my first job at a prop firm at 22, taught with the founder of Thinkorswim, who is a huge name in the industry at a very young age, discovered the power of binary options in 2015, and that is when I took $250 into $16,000 in 13 days, and then decided to go to Naples with my girlfriend. This is us enjoying a beautiful sunset cruise in Naples after that run up. So I decided to just take off from there. But this is a graph of what my account looked like. Now, obviously, I had far surpassed my assumption of how well I could do, and it was really an eye-opening experience. As traders, I think we're always curious. We're all entrepreneurs. We're always looking for new pieces to fit into our puzzle to potentially either increase profits, improve our trading strategies, or anything that'll have a positive impact on our day-to-day life. So obviously this $16,000 profit in 13 days was the highest return I had ever achieved over that period of time. Is over a 5,000% return on my initial investment, which is mind-blowing. I recorded every single one of the trades, so that's probably one of the coolest things, because I had this idea in my head that, hey, I'm going to do it, and I wanted to record everything as I did it, because it's kind of hard to believe. I mean, it's even hard for me to be like, well, you know, I did it, people don't believe me, but I recorded all of the trades, and they are available for you to view. So anybody who would be interested in watching me take $250 into $16,000 over the course of 13 days, you're going to be able to have access to that video. So stick around if you want that. What I'm about to teach you is how binary options work. The one trade setup, I actually used it this morning. It's awesome. It's called a charge trade. I used it this morning. I'm going to teach you guys that here today. It's very, very good. And I built an indicator on it. And that setup, time is of the essence. Okay, so time is of the essence. And what I'm going to show you is how really you only need 15 minutes a day to figure out if this trading setup is going to work or if it isn't. Just a little screenshot of some P&L there. But binary options are the perfect product for a technical analyst. How many of you out there focus a lot of your time on predicting market movement, determining support and resistance levels to help you focus on your trade? Personally, that's all I focus on. When I began trading, I had a very small amount of capital. I was at a young age. So really my only edge in the market wasn't that I could, you know, swing around hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars like I could do now. It was the fact that I had to be so precise on my entries and exits in order to make this a profitable endeavor for me. So I, you know, at a young age, I got very good at what I did. I was also really good at video games as a young kid. Probably spent 15 hours a day playing them against my parents' recommendation, but that made me really good at trading. Binary options are going to simplify technical analysis combined with options. And the other thing about this, small starting capital, really, really cool. I started with $250. So you really don't need that much. I know when I was, beginning trading, I was like, I couldn't day trade unless I had 25 grand. I didn't have 25 grand when I was 18 years old. So this is a really cool product to start with a small amount of capital. Whether you're willing to risk more than that, of course, you're always, welcome, whatever suitable for your financial situation. But the cool thing about Nadex binary options is actually you can do a lot with a little. With some proper training, with the right tools, with the right technical analysts, you can make that money go a lot further than you could if you're just trading stocks. Let's get into how binary options work, what the product is. A lot of you have probably never seen this before, but it's really, it's going to be big. My prediction is that in the next 15 years, binary options are actually going to surpass in volume, for retail trading at least, in the S&P 500. Excuse me. A little bit of a cold. So 1947 strike price is here, and we're going to talk about this as an order ticket. We're going to talk about how you work that order ticket and how you profit from this. But simple explanation, Nadex binary options are limited risk contracts with a simple yes or no market proposition, like will the markets go up at the end of the trading week. You're not talking about, with traditional options, you're talking about a 5-point move or a 3-point move. No, this is just a yes or no. Will we be up or will we be down? It's very simple. That's really the big difference here between this and traditional options. It's not how far you move. It's just if we're above or below the certain strike price. But binary options are going to offer traders ways to trade the most active stock indices, the Dow, the Russell, the NASDAQ, the YM, you name it, commodities, gold, oil, Forex, Euro dollar, Japanese dollar, and event-based decisions, as well as Bitcoin markets with relatively low collateral. So it's a very diverse product. Binary options are cash-settled contracts with an all-or-nothing payout left till expiration. For example, if the condition of the contract is achieved, the settlement value is going to be $100. If the condition is not achieved, the settlement value is 0. So if the market's trading 2090 and I think we're going to be above 2090 at the end of the week, and we end up above 2090 at the end of the week, and I had placed that trade, I would get paid $100. If we end up below 2090 by the end of the week, I will lose whatever my initial investment is. So that's how it works. It is also possible to close the contract prior to expiration, either take profits or cut losses at levels that you determine to be support or resistance. Let's go. So why Nadex? So why should you guys start learning about what I'm teaching? Like I said, guys, limited risk. The maximum amount of money you can lose on your trade is your original investment. That's not true anytime you're trading a leveraged product. How many of you guys are aware of what happened with KBIO 9 months ago, where there was a gentleman who was short $20,000 worth of this stock, woke up and owed E-Trade over $100,000? That's not going to happen trading binary options. How about the debacle with FXCM and the Swiss dollar when the government removed the peg and almost put that brokerage account under business? Anytime you're trading a leveraged product, usually you're put in situations where, although they would be a black swan event, for some reason black swan events seem to happen every other year this day with our crazy financial situation. So one of the cool things about Nadex is you got limited risk on top of having leverage, which is a very rare combination. Usually if you have leverage, you don't necessarily have limited risk. There's also low collateral required. You can start, binary contracts are going to be priced with $0 to $100. You're not trading, you're not trading Chipotle options for $400, $500, $1,300, whatever it is. Short-term contracts, binaries, expirations are going to be ranging from 20 minutes to 1 week. One of the big advantages of having multiple contract expirations is the ability to structure the trade around your own analysis. Right now, if I want to trade the SPY, I really only have a few different instruments to choose from. You have the weeklies and the monthlies, and it's actually interesting. I've seen more and more they're starting to introduce shorter-term contracts to actually compete with Nadex as a brokerage, because Nadex is picking up a lot of customers. So my favorite part about binary options, however, is that when you enter into the contract, what your max profit and your max loss will be based on where the price is. That's huge. Let me explain that a little deeper. Price is king. If you're entering a traditional options contract, most of the time, how many of you guys trade in options? And I can tell you for myself, I've been in an options trade. I'm up 100%, and all of a sudden I get greedy. I want 150%. I want 200%. And that kind of removes me from my original game plan, which was just to trade the support level into the next resistance level. So by removing that out of the equation, I take away some of the greed. It makes it easier for me to trade. I teach price action. I'm a price action trader, and if you're a price action trader, which I believe everybody is to some degree, price is the only thing that pays, despite what anybody else will tell you. If you're wrong on price, you're going to lose money. Binary options are the best product for price action traders. Also, commission cost is low. I used to trade options very frequently, and honestly, last year I traded options frequently. It was like 2013. When I got my commission bill at the end of the year, I realized I could have bought a car with it. I was like, oh my goodness, that is so much money. I'm spending so much money on commissions. I like the way the Nadex commission structure works. It's going to be capped at $9. Now, for some of you, if you're only trading 1 and 2 contracts, that's not a big deal. But when you move up and you're trading 100 contracts plus, to have the commissions down to $9 is really significant and definitely adds up. And this is how the commission structure is going to work. Trading fees, 1 to 10 lots, are going to be 90 cents per lot, capped at $9. So like I said, lots 11 and above, there's going to be no additional fees. Settlement fees, so when the contract expires, it's going to be the same as the commission fee, same structure, 90 cents a lot, capped at $9. The expiration times are going to be given in Eastern Standard Time, and the spreads on the daily are going to be $3 to $6. Spreads with the market makers are going to have their edge. It's offers and bids are usually 50 to 200 contracts posted. And you know what's funny? They're actually getting bigger and bigger. There's more and more liquidity pouring into these products. I see them upwards of 350 contracts posted, which at a risk one to make one ratio, you're looking, you need to be throwing down $15,000 plus to actually be moving the market. So you can comfortably swing $10,000 to $15,000 per contract if you do ever end up scaling to that size, or maybe some of you already are. There's also no HFT. I used to trade at a prop desk, and I would see all of the time. I'd throw a big order out there, buy 10,000 shares, and maybe there's 9,000 sitting on the offer. All of a sudden, I get filled on 5 of those, and then the rest of them, the price moves up, and I get screwed out of a few pennies, which is when you're trading thousands of shares. That really adds up. So there's actually nobody front running orders in Nadex markets, not yet at least, maybe in the future. But to me, now, I have suffered both my biggest gain and my biggest loss trading traditional options. I've both made and lost 100 grand a day trading traditional options, and although my heart can probably take the stress at such a young age, it's not something I decide to mess with anymore. I think traditional options are complicated. I think, kind of like a fraternity, everyone's on the bandwagon, nobody's thinking for themselves. Why do people trade traditional options? I think it's because everyone else is doing it. The brokerage houses push it. It's actually their most profitable product because people are constantly trading in and out of those things. And like I said, last time I traded options, I got my commission bill and could have bought a car with it. So 4 things a person needs to be able to compute when trading traditional options, which I consider myself pretty good at this stuff, and I learned from the guy who created retail option trading with Thinkorswim, and I still am not able to compute it on the fly. You need to be able to know delta, gamma, theta, vega, historical versus volatility versus historical volatility, which when it comes to trading, guys, one of the things that kind of took me to the next level was always simplify as much as possible, and to remove all of the complication from traditional standard options and into binary options was one of the biggest leaps I made personally in my own trading. And this is one of my favorite quotes by an old school speculator. If a speculator is correct half of the time, he is hitting a good average. Even being right 3 or 4 times out of 10 should yield a person a fortune if he has the sense to cut his losses quickly on the ventures where he is wrong. So one of the things you want to be paying attention to is when you're initially buying a contract. Now, how many of you have ever been long an options contract, and the price goes up, say $3, and then comes back $2.50? Okay, it comes back to 50, and you were originally up maybe 70, 80%, and now you're staring at a loss. Okay, now you're staring at a loss. That is something that you will always have with the traditional option, because there's going to be some premium baked in. If you bought the at-the-money option, you're initially up, you're above where the strike would be, the trade's moved in your favor, but because of theta decay, you're down on the contract. That is the cool thing about binary options. That is what allowed me to really do the profits. Is if a product moved towards my favor and then back against me, as long as it was above my initial entry, I was fine, I was profit, I was coming out with 100% gain. So I'm going to get into the examples here. Yeah, we will. So I'm going to get into examples here. How do binary contracts work? The price of gold will be above. So this would be like an example for gold. Will the price of gold be above $1,700 by 1:30 p.m.? Yes or no? Do you think it will be above? And this is all hypothetical, obviously. If you think it'll be above, you're buying the offer. If you think it'll be below, you're selling the bid. The price at which you buy or sell at is not the actual price of gold, but rather the price between 0 and 100. And I'll go into an example here and see a couple of people want to be able to see how does this stuff actually work. Well, I'm going to show you a trade setup here. It's called the charge trade, and it actually occurred today, and I use it today. It's really awesome. This is a trading setup that you will be able to use whether you trade stocks, ETFs, options. I have an indicator bill for it. It's pretty cool. It's actually really simple because it tells me everything I need to do. But this is going to occur on days when the market is trending. So today, we had a little bit of a trend, big breakout over the last 2 days for those of you who have been watching very closely. What we're looking for, and this is when you get out your pen and paper, because this is all stuff I keep written down on my desk. These are very specific trade setups, and this is really what you want to be doing. So this is a trade setup I took today. It's going to trigger on the close of the third 15-minute bar. So boom, 45 minutes into the day, I'm Central Standard Time, so 9:15 for me. I'm looking for a gap, number one, at the open. Can be up or down, does not matter. I'm looking for that gap to be followed by 3 15-minute bars, either all red or all green. Then I'm going to draw a low to a high or a high to a low and place the Nadex trade as close to possible to the 50% retracement. I'm sure some of you out there have heard of Fibonacci's. I got a little bit more of a sophisticated way that I use them, but this is the very basics of it. You're looking to buy the 50% pullback after a trend has been determined. And then what you'll do is you will actually use the Nadex time strikes 1 to 2 hours out in sideways markets. And if you think we're really trending, you can go towards the end of the day. So let's go into an example of what I would be looking for in this setup. So we have a gap up here in the S&P 500, followed by 1, 2, 3 bars to the downside. Okay, so take out your pen and paper, make sure you're writing this stuff down because you'll be able to use this setup in your trading arsenal. It's a great one. And then you're looking to enter on the 50% retracement short, okay, because this is obviously a short trade. 1933, so in Nadex, when this trade traded, 1933, all I was looking for is I'm buying or selling the closest Nadex strike. So there'll be strikes every 3 points in the S&P 500 for Nadex. So in this case, there was a strike in 1932. I sold it for $50, which means because the contract's the total value of $100, if I sold it for $50, I'm going to make $50. And all I need the market to do is actually stay below 1932 2 hours out. So you can see we trade up in that level, I sell the contract, we come down, we make a new low, and 2 hours later, I'm sitting on 100% profit. Now, obviously, we ran a lot further than that. Like I said, this is a type of trade that will occur on trending days, and so you'll see it sometimes run a lot further than that. You can be more aggressive with your entries if you choose to be. This is another example of the same trade except to the long side. You have a gap up, 1, 2, 3 15-minute bars to the upside. You look for the 50% retracement back. If this was the case, I bought the 1904 Nadex strikes, and all I need the market to do is actually be above 1904 at the end of the strike time. So I don't necessarily need it to go 20 points higher, although that's fine. It makes me feel comfortable in my trade. I just need it to move 4 to 5 points higher above the strike price I had purchased in Nadex. So this is what really helped me out when trading this product, is I don't have the psychological confusion of nailing the exit. Every trade we always get in as traders, we want to get that exit right. And I think the exit is probably the hardest part about trading because that's where trade management comes in. And by making a time exit part of the factor really helps you stick to the original rules of actually just taking the trade that you were intended on executing at the beginning of the day, whatever your setup is. Now, I have 6 setups. This is one of those setups. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the charge trade. One more example here, and then I'm going to show you how I've automated this process. So now I actually don't even have to look for it because now I got a software program that shows me when it's happening, which is really cool. Anyways, we got a gap down here in, this is the Russell. So this is, like I said, it's going to work on multiple instruments. It's not just the S&P 500. It's going to work on different things. You got a gap down, 1, 2, 3, 15-minute red bars. Boom, you pull up your 50% retracement. In this case, I was just looking for to be below 10, 12, and you can see that's right here. I don't need it to go further than that. I'm going to get a 100% profit regardless of how far it goes. It doesn't need to go. So it takes, once again, it takes out the psychological trade management of it. So what do you want to do here? This is me at the CME, by the way. But what you want to do here is, for this trade setup, there's 2 different ways to trade it. Now, you want to buy the closest Nadex strike to the 50% retracement after it's set up like I've shown you. You can also, so if we're if we're not trending very hard, I'll generally just go 1 to 2 hours out and get that initial move. But if we're trending really, really hard, I'll buy the end of the day strike as well. So like I said, Nadex is going to have options that expire every hour, as well as at the end of every day, every 20 minutes, and at the end of the week. So there's a couple of different ways you can put on the trade in terms of what you want to do, how you want to express the trade, etc. You're going to want to choose the closest strike to the 50%. So in the S&P, you got strikes at every 3 points. They're not going to be exactly on that, so you have to pick from the closest one. And I never will trade contracts that don't have at least 45 minutes left in them till their expiration. I think a lot of people get caught up. They have 5-minute binaries, super dangerous. You want to talk about coin flip trading? Anything on a 5-minute time frame, unless you're HFT, you're going to be really, I think, struggling to remain consistently profitable. There's just not enough time to manage a trade. I think I can process things fairly quickly, but I can't process them that quickly. So one of the things I've actually done here is everything I've just shown you, it's very clear. You could write down on half a sheet of loose leaf all of those rules and start executing that trade tomorrow, right? So everybody understand how that trade works. Very simple. So what I've done is, in fact, that the execution is actually so simple, I decided to make it even more simple, and I've created an indicator called the MLT Proprietary Charge Trade Indicator, and it's going to do all of the work for me, which is sweet, all right? So this is a custom indicator that's going to show up on the close of the third 15-minute bar, whether or not it's triggered, okay? The trade type that has triggered, i.e. either long or short, it'll show that as well. Are we going to trade long or are we going to trade short? It's also going to give me the entry. And so, I mean, really, what else can you ask for? All right, so it's going to give me the stop, the entry, and long or short. So let's see what that looks like. This is what that looks like on Thinkorswim. So any of you guys that use Thinkorswim, so we have the charge trade long trigger, okay? You have a target buy zone. So it's actually going to give you where you're looking to buy, and then it's going to give you the stop up top. You can see it says this line up and down says MLT charge trade. It'll be MLT charge trade long for upside trades, and it'll be green. MLT charge trade short for downside trades, and it will be red. Okay, so very simple. The charge trade long triggered target buy near 2049 quarter. In this case, 2049 quarter was actually the low of the day. Believe it or not, it's actually kind of cool. So like I said, if you're trading futures, you'll be able to use this indicator and apply it to your futures trading strategies. If you're trading the SPY or ETFs, options on the SPY or Nadex, you can use all of this on all of those products. The stop, 2042.75. We just want to be using the lows of the day here. Another example, I actually took this photo from today, believe it or not. I just got this code written recently, so I originally, I developed this system, in 2015, applied it, and now I'm starting to get some code written for it. But this is actually today. We had a charge trade triggered long. So you can see it was taking some screenshots as it happened and actually bought this trade. So the charge trade is triggered long this morning. The target buy was 86.50. The stop is going to be 80.75. So you can see we came down. 86.50 was the buy. Go to the next slide. You can see we traded down, dipped in. We touched 86, so about 2 ticks below that buy zone, and then came up and ran into resistance. But this trade, whether you took it in Nadex and went 2 hours out, was 100% profit on that, or if you wanted to trade it in the SPY or the S&P, I'll show you guys how that would have worked here. So this is actually right here, the Thinkorswim chart. Let's pull up the SPY here. And, I just want to show you how you can use this on multiple products. We'll pull up today's. So today we have the charge trade triggered in the SPY. And it tells me, target buy is 209.20. So let's mark 209.20 on the chart. Oops, sensitive mouse. So 209.20 on the chart would have been about right here. That's 209.19. So 209.20, I don't know where that noise is coming from, but someone's mic's on. 209.20. It came right here, and you can see me bounced off this level not only once but twice. So this is an active trade that you can use in multiple situations, and it's just going to give me, literally, it's going to tell me a trigger, it's going to tell me where to buy, and it's going to give me my stop. I mean, there's really not much more you can ask for from an indicator. So we'll go on to the next slide here. So why traders fail? They trade products they don't generally understand. I think a lot of people are going to be sucked into traditional options trading when they first begin trading because they love the leverage, but like I said, options are generally very sophisticated products, and the people you're trading against are very sophisticated computers backed by billions of dollars by name it's called Citadel. So also a lot of traders, they trade products, they don't know the exact max risk or the exact max reward. When they enter the trade, they kind of just go in with an arbitrary stop and an arbitrary target, and that's going to create psychological confusion that's not going to allow you to focus on really what's simple and what you should be focusing on, which is simple trading setups. Now, I have 6 setups. I just showed you guys one of those setups, and I hope you guys can go use that profitably. I encourage you to use that trading setup in your toolbox. But the problem is new traders, they don't have defined setups. A lot of you out there who are, if you've been trading for a while and you find yourself, struggling or spinning your wheels and you have yet to clearly define setups, well, these are going to be the reasons that I've taught many of traders, and I know in my own personal journey, my own trading journey, what took me to that next level. And this is all that. Lagging momentum indicators, also a lot of people use lagging momentum indicators. I'm not a fan of momentum indicators. I'm a fan of price indicators, and that's what I focus on. Like you said in the previous one. Silas, I believe your mic is on. Reaction to the price rather than planning to trade. A lot of people, how many of you guys are guilty of either chasing up or chasing down? If you're chasing up or chasing down, you're just going to be in the market and you're going to see price go up, you're going to chase up, that's going to be the high, you're going to end up down. That is not a way to trade. Okay, we've all done it, we're all guilty of it, especially when we first begin trading. Our natural instinct is really to follow the herd, and really following the herd doesn't really work in trading. You got to be there before the herd gets there and then dump onto the herd, okay, as they jump off the cliff. Also, a lot of traders lack professional technical education, and that is nobody's fault, really, because there's not a lot of good places out there to learn. Unfortunately, I was able to study under a hedge fund trader, and so I got that professional technical education that led to my success I have today. So really the questions I have for you guys: are you willing to take the steps to change your trading habits for increased profits? How many of you guys got a stack of books anywhere in your home, whether it's your library, on your desk, in your room, that looks just like that? Because I'll tell you what, that's exactly what mine looks like, and I've read them all, and none of them have taught me how to make money. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a visual learner. I like learning from videos. That's why I produce everything in a video so people can see. It's in your face. I go over it in great detail, but there's 4 things you need to do if you want to be a successful trader. You need to be trading a product with risk to reward is known at entry. You also need to be trading a system with a risk reward is known at entry. You can't be just guessing, throwing darts. It's not going to work. It'll never work. If you keep trying it, you might as well donate your money to charity. You have to define these things. Eliminate psychological mistakes by reducing complexity. Okay? Define setups that are going to occur every single day of trading, just like I defined that one for you guys. Now, execute those setups based on price and ignore the noise of indicators. Okay? My story with the strategy that I've developed is I have 6 trading setups. They're all clearly defined. I used them to take $250 and over 16 grand. I recorded every single trade, and you can view it just to see, okay? And I only used 6 setups. Not more complicated than that. I was able to achieve a 5,000% return in 13 days. The charge trade I just showed you, I got 5 more, called the halfway back, the bully, the dive, the leg start, and the flunk. I keep those 5 and 6 trades on my desk on a piece of paper that I printed out. Okay? And I want you guys to print out that sheet as well. My 6 best setups to trade Nadex. If you're interested, this is going to be available for the first 50 traders only, on demand immediately at $197. You're going to learn the 6 setups I use to trade Nadex. You're going to learn how to discipline and focus on the product that pays you the most, which I think is simply the easiest product to trade, Nadex. You're going to learn how to eliminate psychological mistakes, a real-world daily trade plan to define, execute, and successfully manage your trade. But what else? I'm actually going to throw in that MLT charge trade indicator. The MLT charge trade indicator, okay, which I showed you guys in this, is something that you're going to be able to apply, whether it be if you trade the SPY, if you trade a stock. That's trading setup, and that software will work on every single chart you pull up in Thinkorswim. Doesn't matter what it is. Apple, ES, futures, oil, you name it. All right. So MLTnadex.com is where you want to go. And you're going to, once you go ahead and purchase the product, like I said, it's $197. And really what you're going to get is the indicator alone is a $400 value. I actually spent thousands of dollars having that indicator developed. And you guys are going to get it as part of the course for $197. It's a lifetime membership deal. Okay? Lifetime membership deal, one time. You're going to get my ES trade grids, which I'll show you. And if you would like, you can come into my trade room for 30 days. There's an option to do that as well and watch me trade. So if this software is the software, this trade setups will work on any platform. The code I have built will need to be with Thinkorswim. There's no cost to Thinkorswim, so there's no hidden fees or anything. You get the code, you just have to open up the account. It's free, okay? And once you guys sign up for the course, you're going to receive the 6 trading setups in your email. You're going to receive a link to open up your Nadex account. You're going to receive a link to open up the course that is in my website, okay? And I want you guys to print out the same 6 trades I keep on my desk. I keep 6 trades on my desk. I want you guys to print that out and have that on your desk. If you don't got a printer, go to the library, print it out, and keep a journal of the setups you're taking and track your results. Remember, you're only as good as your last trade, so it's important to track the results. I recommend 36 trades, so there's 6 different setups over the course of a few weeks. You should be able to find a trade every single day using those setups, and if you keep track at the halfway back, the bully, the dive, the leg, you're going to find out which one of those setups you're best at trading, which one of those setups are most profitable for you. By keeping it simple, keeping it to 6 trades, what you're able to do is really focus on the setup, the profit, and the product. Now, one thing I always ask myself before I enter a trade is, what is the trend? Where are the major support and resistance levels, and where are the minor support and resistance levels? You'll get a simplified way to learn all of this, and as well as all of your questions answered at mltnadex.com. Do the setups work on individual equities? Yes, they do. Is there any questions regarding the course, my trade room? So my trade room, for those of you who don't know, we focus on ES futures, which is the main product to actually trade on Nadex. And we do execute our orders on the screen for educational purposes. They're not buy or sell recommendations, but they are educational purposes, and the openness is part of our education. See me make money, see me lose money, right on your screen. It's part of my trade room. Any questions regarding this? Let me pull it up one more time here. So you can see in the futures, if you were just a futures trader here, this is a trade that if you just want to run it into previous highs, which a lot of time the targets I'll use are just previous highs, buy 86. I mean, this trade right here, one contract paid for this entire, one contract in the ES futures paid for this entire course 3 times over today. Buy literally tells you 86.75, you buy it, sell the previous high. That's 5 points. Buy again, sell the previous high. That's another 5 points. That's 10 points. That's $500 on one contract. So Literally, this software program alone, not even including the rest of the course, will pay for itself. It just did it in one day. And if you don't, if you just want to take this trade setup and you don't want to learn the other 5 I have to offer, and you just want to take what I taught you today, I got 5 more trade setups that are in the course. This is just one. Okay, so you're just peak of the iceberg. The rest of it's sitting in the course. It did hit it, Alexandra. It did hit it. 86.75 was the buy. You can see it says it right here, 86.75. This is a live chart. Every day that this setup triggers, it'll give me all of this information. And if you turn it over to the SPY, it'll do the same thing. And this line, 209.20, is where it told me to buy. So like I said, if you're in Canada and you trade stocks or futures, you can use this. If you're in the United States, you can use this. If you want to just learn the setups and apply it to Forex, you can use it. You got 5 here, or you got 1 here. I got 5 more in the back end of the course. It's a 197, and it's literally over a $2,400 value. The course in itself should pay for it with 1 execution. Yes, $86.75 in the ES. Lifetime membership, no fees after that. If you want to join my trade room and watch me trade live on a screen, that's going to be $7 for 30 days. You can watch me trade for 30 days, take everything I know, and run away with it and never come back again. But I doubt you will, because you'll probably want to stick around and watch me trade for another 30 days, because there is nothing more valuable than watching a trader execute his orders live on the screen profitably, day in and day out. That's how I learned from the hedge fund trader, and that's how I teach. What is Nadex is the question. Nadex is a binary options broker. You guys can all yell at Silas or whoever that is over there with their mic on shuffling. They probably have me muted, but that's not making all that noise. Any more questions regarding this? Yes, my trade room is open all day, all trading day. It's not open right now. There's no, Nadex does not earn, that's a good question. Does Nadex earn money from your loss? No, they actually they have independent market makers. They are not the market maker on the trade. They are the exchange. Similar to be, like if I'm the New York Stock Exchange, if somebody loses money on a stock, or someone makes money on a stock, it does not affect my business. They make their money off commission, and they're independent market-making firms that actually make the markets within the exchange, so you are not trading against the house. Very good question. How do you report these trades and taxes? They send you, I forgot what the form is exactly called, but it's similar to a futures form, which is your profits or losses. It's a lot less complicated than trading stocks would be, but they send you a profit or loss statement at the end of every year, and you pay based on your income bracket. As well as one of the things people don't know about, Nadex is the only regulated broker for binary options within the United States. So you actually would not want to go on and trade with other brokers like that. It's a 1099 is the form you're going to get for your taxes. So if you're in Germany and Europe, there is actually brokers that work in Germany and Europe, run through the same groups called IG Group. I would have to look it up, but I know that Europe has available brokers. IG Group is in fact the company that owns the FTSE, which is the Australian Stock Exchange. It's registered with the FTC, or the CFTC. Unfortunately, due to Canada's regulations, there is currently no binary options trade that's regulated in Canada. Does the indicator work with the 5 other setups as well? Those are different setups. So those are clearly defined, and I'm working on building those indicators right now, one at a time, but they will be eventually added to the course as long as I can have them coded. How do you go about joining? MLTNadex.com. As far as Singapore goes, I'm not positive what the regulations are regarding that specific country, but we could find out. Like I said, even if you cannot trade Nadex, which you should, almost all of you should be able to unless you're from Canada, you'll be able to use these setups and this software and the automation software, the charge trade indicator, with any other product you trade. If you're looking to contact us with any questions, you can email support@majorleaguetrading.com. Yes, they do, Amy. All right, guys, I believe that's it for questions. If anybody has anything else, please let me know. Gotta shut my screen door. It's about to start raining. The Canadian government does not allow Nadex. No, unfortunately not. But the setups will still work on other products. MLTNadex.com. Right, the website is right on the page. You can put www in front of it if it's not working. www. Okay, what, Alexandra? So 85.60 is rounded to 85.75 in the futures contract, yes. So it's rounded because if you don't know, the ES trades in quarter points. It does not trade in tenth of decimals. The brokers we use and everything is all found in the course. All of the information will be answered in video format as well as text. Once you sign up, you're going to need to check your spam or promotions folder. And occasionally it'll go to your inbox, but just in case it hasn't, your login information should be sent to you very quickly. Thinkorswim does work in Canada. Yes, it should take you to an order phone. You can choose your own broker. If you're just looking to learn the setups, you can use any broker. You can, like I said, you can use whatever broker. This is the course that teaches the setup to use on the platform, and then we recommend a couple of different brokers to go to. But Australia, yes. Actually, IG Group, which owns Nadex, I believe, is actually out of Australia, so yes. How does Thinkorswim make any money? I'm not sure. Probably off the commissions. That would be my guess, though. I'm not positive. Their business model is not my concern, nor should it be yours. Your only concern should be how are you going to make money, because really none of you are here for any other reason other than with a sole purpose of learning how to consistently trade profitable in the markets, right? Yes, they do, Alex. I get unlimited data. I mean, I have an account with them, but I know they include demo. The study will, these setups can be used on the Thinkorswim mobile app. The study, I don't believe, will load because they don't load custom, but you could eyeball it. You just have to do the math. But yeah, I know a lot of people that trade off their phone. In fact, my trade room can be watched on the phone. So some people just actually log into their phones and watch me trade. $7 for 30 days, and then it goes to a $99 a month subscription, but it can be canceled at any time. Nina, the answer is yes. Sounds good, Agnes. Yes, it includes a free paper trading account that they offer. We'll show you how to set that up. So one of the cool things is we're going to show you guys, for any of you who don't have this software program, we'll show you how to set it up. This is one of the best, cleanest charts. There's no fees associated with this. Okay, so if you get our Nadex program, we're going to show you how to set this up and start using it. So if you're paying $200 a month for data fees, I recommend you cancel that tomorrow and sign up here and pay no data fees in the future for data. Just a heads up. Trying to save you some money. The indicator is written in ThinkScript, so it'll work in ThinkScript. However, the trading setups are explained, and actually you can still trade it in a different thing, but the code will not load. It is not only me that runs the trading room, and yes, live trades are taken in the room by either me or my partner, Eric. The trading room is just an extra $7 for 30 days. Can someone watch the trading room without buying your course? Yes, you can. You'd have to go to my website, which is MajorLeagueTrading.com. MajorLeagueTrading.com is my site if you're curious about signing up for just the trade room. Yep, you guys are going to stand here for the next speaker. He'll be up here soon. So it's 5 o'clock, and I want to thank you guys for my time. For those of you who are joining the course, I appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you, and I hope you learn a bunch from this course. I hope this presentation allows you to properly trade this setup. Check it out if next time we trade. Remember, guys, just basic 3 15-minute bars to the upside, pull a 50% retracement, buy that level, and target the highs. Yep, exactly, Robert.
All right, Jack, can you hear me?
I can, Jeanette.
All right, Jackie, how you doing today, buddy?
Good. I wasn't sure if that was your mic or Silas's, but somebody was like shuffling over there.
Yeah, no, it was the next speaker. He signed in and didn't realize that he was not muted, and so I figured it out and I turned it off. But
oh, okay.
Sorry about the noise. But,
no worries.
I thank you for coming for this hour. Y'all give Jack a big hand. Jack Gleason, Nadex expert. His link is mltnadex.com. That's like Major League Trading. Jack, slide your, there you go, mltnadex.com. And we'll be posting that here for you one more time before we move to the next speaker. Jack, if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to take the power back from you and make myself the presenter.